What's going on, guys, and welcome back to LOI TV. Now today it is the 4th episode of the LOI podcast. I think we've done about one a year really, so hopefully become a bit more consistent. I am joined today by Socko. Thank you very much for joining us. We were supposed to be joined by Griff as well, but he has an assignment to do. So we have a few topics to talk about today, but Socko, how are you? Anyway, just...
Oh good. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Nice
Yeah.
to see you.
Yeah. How's things?
Been a while since you were on the channel.
Been a while. I don't know when the last time I was on. Probably for the
I think it was we were acting to the 1-1 draw with Denmark. I think
yeah,
it was.
pretty after the Denmark game.
Yeah.
When was that? Last year.
A few months
Yeah.
last year anyway. Yeah. So.
But yeah, lots happened since. Good to be back.
Yeah,
Glad to be
absolutely.
back.
Yeah.
Glad to be back before everyone fecks off for the summer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You haven't been to a game this season yet, but
Oh no, thanks for that.
No, but we will. We have a few topics we're going to be talking about today, but we probably best place to start off is with the Rovers Dundalk game. We won't be talking about this weekend's fixtures because I think this podcast coming out on Sunday night, so the games will be over by then. But I think we have to touch on that game with Rovers and Dundalk. It was a fantastic advertisement for the league, really, wasn't it?
Really exciting. Live on RT2. Two of my best mates were at it, and they said it was a brilliant game. Not only because they're Rovers supporters, but it was really exciting. Mainly because it was a great game, start to finish. Really exciting. One wonder goal and Jack Byrne's winner was brilliant, but we'll get on to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great advertisement for the League of Ireland.
Definitely.
Record attendance too.
Fabulous. Yeah, fabulous. No,
which is really positive.
Tala Stadium was absolutely rocking, and usually when Dundalk get 2-1 up, they kind of see the game out. That champion mentality, but it shows that Rovers could have something different about them this year. I think with being able to get back into that game and coming out on top as well, shows that they are truly there to be in the title race this season. I think
they could do. They've had a good start to the season. It's no mean feat losing to Rovers in Tallaght Stadium. Like, they're the strongest team in the country, I think, this year
right now. Yeah,
and they only did lose by a goal.
Yeah.
Brilliant winner by Jack Byrne. But I think they'll take a lot of positives from the Rovers game.
Yeah, I think we'll touch on the Jordan Flores goal now. Your thoughts on that?
Outrageous. Yeah, the technique, I don't know how he did not pull his groin or break a hip.
Because he had surgery on his hip last year.
Did he?
And he was
really
praising the doctor and everything.
No way.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know how he was nearly doing the splits like from one foot on the ground.
Yeah.
Outrageous technique. Brilliant from every angle you look at it. Got 6 million views on the RT Twitter page, even though RT seemed to mess up the clip.
The crossing.
There's a little stutter, yeah.
And
then the clip they fixed, they put it in after, and I think that got like a tenth of the amount of views. Yeah. But anyway, it was shared all over the world. You said he was on CNN
and everything. Yeah, it's crazy.
Gary Lineker.
But more importantly, he was on LOI TV last year. Did an interview with us exclusively. He's a good lad.
Gary Lineker retweeted it. Peter Crouch replied to it. I think the whole football world saw it, and again, great advertisement for the LOI.
Absolutely. And then I have to touch on the winning goal by Jack Byrne, a man who will be trying to push his way into the Ireland squad. He's definitely doing himself no harm with goals like that. Mick McCarthy was in the crowd watching, and he will have been left quite impressed by what he saw.
Hopefully, I think he does deserve another call up for the Slovakia game at the end of the month.
Yeah. We'll touch on the Slovakia game later on.
Obviously, Friday night didn't do him any harm. Mick McCarthy was there too.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him get another run out. Maybe come on the last 20-30 minutes. We'll get on to the Ireland Slovakia game later.
Yeah.
But he definitely did himself a lot of good in making his way into the Ireland squad.
Absolutely. Touching on Shamrock Rovers, I think we have to talk quickly about the B team that they have playing in the first division. Of course, that's been a controversial topic in the off season. They played against Galway United in the first division there last week on Saturday during the storm, and the scenes are absolutely horrible. Some of the stories coming out of the game. Both sets of players were treated for frostbite and hypothermia. Absolutely horrendous conditions. A Rovers player by the name, forgive me if I pronounce this incorrectly now, Cole O'More Hyman, was taken to hospital with frostbite following the game. Players were vomiting in the dressing room and the bus home. I've heard a fellow was taken off at half time to rip his t-shirt jersey off, and he was blue. His body was blue. I'd have to bear hug him to get him some heat back into.
It was shocking weather on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a player welfare issue has to come into play there. I'm sure there was
common sense kind of thing.
I'm sure there was words said to the referee maybe half time or during the game. I don't know if they're going to take the case any further, but definitely a lot of questions to be asked there of the officials.
Very lucky that the game was being played in the Tata Stadium, because with up-to-date facilities, and they had like a boiler room where players could kind of heat up and stuff like that. But if that was like, that's the best stadium in the country, it's very lucky that it was there. Anywhere else now, there could have been big problems.
Yeah, we've seen even 2 or 3 weeks ago with the Bows Rovers match being cancelled on RTE, just it kind of highlighted the state of facilities and stadiums in the League of Ireland at the moment. There's a lot of investment needed. I don't know for how many years the Dalymount redevelopment has been talked about. A similar case with Cork City and a few stadiums around the country. A lot of investment needed, and that I don't know, has to come from the FAI, government, ticket sales contribute, but yeah, things like that every now and then just hit home how much investment is needed if we want to become better.
Absolutely. I think the main thing is kind of, I was looking at it, it costs 19,000 to enter your team into the first division and Premier Division. And I think you have to finish 5th or above to get even 19,500 winnings for finishing there in the league, and that's not even taking into account like all the facilities and playing players' wages and like all the staff and everything like that. So you can see why the cut to even break even in the league is very, very difficult. So
the amount of clubs since over the last maybe 2 decades we've seen fold. Personally, Sporting Fingal as well were in existence for 2 years.
Yeah,
didn't have the funding.
So difficult.
Partly due to the recession, highlights how difficult it is for League of Ireland clubs to survive. Clubs down the lower end of the table are surviving kind of on a month by month basis.
Yeah.
We've seen stories all over the years. Maybe the legacy of John Delaney, he was on 400 grand a year, and the League of Ireland winners only get 100 grand. With Niall Quinn and the new board in now, that is improving, but it's just the legacy
it's going to take time.
It's going to take time. The legacy of poor management over the years has left us in this position. So hopefully, I think things are improving. We've seen record attendances the last few months.
Yeah.
Heading in the right direction, slowly but surely. Yeah.
Just, do you feel like there's like a growing interest in the league, personally, from your point of view, in terms of like, it's obviously hard to know from like, it's always going to be tricky for the League of Ireland, considering obviously GAA and hurling and stuff like that's always going to be so huge in Ireland. So have you like, do you think there is potential growth there, and have you seen any like obviously we've seen record attendances and stuff like that? Do you think it's stepping in the right direction, kind of?
I do. I think attendances have been rising consistently maybe the last 2 or 3 years, and not only when Dundalk or Rovers or Bows are playing, but across the board it's kind of slowly increasing. Within my circle of friends and kind of my age group, there is a lot more interest now than there used to be, possibly due to like the increase of social media, and RTE are kind of picking up a few more games. I think RTE could do
a
little bit more, instead of just showing maybe, how long is Soccer Republic? Like
30 minutes long.
30 minutes.
Don't do any analysis, they just shut up.
Yeah, whereas Match in the Day,
you'd be better off not having it at all. Kind
of Match of the Day on the BBC is like 2 hours long on a weekend. I know there's funding issues there, but I think there's a huge opportunity for RTE to capitalise on that.
Yeah, RTE should invest in LOI TV and make it TV show, really. That's why I
know. I was looking for a job. In all seriousness, I think it is improving, and it'll be really amazing to see the whole country gets behind the national team. Whenever we get to Euros or even March coming up, there's always a bit of buzz.
Yeah.
Hopefully that transcends and lasts after the international break ends and the League of Ireland starts back. I think it is slowly but surely increasing. It'll be nice for just a bit more investment.
Obviously, after seeing the game on Friday night between Rovers and Dundalk, touch back on it quickly, I feel like the quality of the teams, I know them two are the standard that every team's kind of looking at right now and wanting to try and achieve, but I think even seeing the likes of players like Jack Byrne and Flores, who was with Wigan before, players like this playing their trade in the League of Ireland is kind of, it's a good sign. I know Dundalk obviously they're in Europe for a couple of years, so they've got a nice few quid from that, and they can obviously attract certain players. The same with Shamrock Rovers as well. They just got a new striker in from Salford in England, so it is tough for teams like down the bottom like Finn Harps and your Sligo Rovers and stuff like that to compete with these types of sides. But I do think on the whole, like, the level of the league is improving, and I think that can only be a good thing. I mean, like, if Dundalk and Rovers are getting better, that means it's going to have a trickle down effect kind of thing as well. So
hopefully, you touched on it before we started recording. Hopefully when Stephen Kenny comes in a few months' time, well, it could be in a few weeks if we lose at the end of March, he will he will know the League of Ireland well, and hopefully bring in a few more League of Ireland players. The past few years, it's always been just one or two or three players,
which is an improvement, but still not.
It'd be really, really cool to see maybe 5 or 6 lads getting a shout, and even a cap and a friendly can do huge things
it gets a buzz around the league so much, and everyone in the league is so excited for that. Even when Graham Burke got his cap there, scored in his debut, it was such a buzz. Like, everyone was so happy for him,
and maybe it'll change the mindset of the League of Ireland, where you can't succeed if you're doing well in the League of Ireland. You're not entering the League of Ireland with the end goal being I'll get a trial in England.
Pathway over kind of thing. So I think it's just gonna be a slow process, but hopefully bit by bit we can kind of just improve the league here and there, and hopefully I think investment is a big thing, and hopefully we can see prize money in having it being increased and having a good trickle down effect down into the first division as well. Because if you're looking at the Premier Division, if them sides are struggling financially, you can only imagine how the first division sides are feeling. But we'll move on quickly from there onto a nice happy topic: the coronavirus. Absolutely rampant at the moment.
That's one word for it.
We've seen in the Serie A that Inter Milan have been playing their games behind closed doors and stuff like that. It's been creeping into Ireland in the last little while. Could this have an impact on the League of Ireland? Of course, it's obviously not the priority. I mean, League of Ireland games if there's a horrible thing going on with people and stuff like that. But is there a possibility that it could have an impact on some games?
Yeah, there's a huge possibility. Only today, Thursday, there was 4 new cases found in the west of Ireland, confirmed. The Serie A announced the other day matches are going to be played behind closed doors for a month. The Coppa Italia, a few matches were cancelled also. The Ireland-Italy rugby match was cancelled. I think there was an England-France match cancelled too. So there's been major sporting events in the next few weeks cancelled or being played behind closed doors. I think it's hard to say, but going over the past week, there seems to be a slow increase in Ireland and England of cases. So if that increases, there's going to have to be serious questions asked of mass public gatherings in the country, including League of Ireland matches. I'm sure the FAI and the HSE are in daily contact with clubs, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are cancellations. And obviously, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it's only people's health is a priority. It's only a football match. I wouldn't be surprised if there is. What's your take on it?
I was just, in terms of from a financial point of view, for the Serie A clubs, they obviously can probably survive a month without behind closed doors. But if it was to come to that for Ireland, with that being such a huge, financially, that's so important for them to get fans in the door through the turnstiles and actually paying for the tickets. That's actually a huge contributing factor to paying bills for the clubs.
It's true.
It could have a bigger impact on Irish clubs than certain leagues, like I say, happened in the Premier League or Serie A. So I think it is a bit of a concern for Irish clubs at the moment.
That's true.
And if it was to be to become a thing where we had to go a month with games behind closed doors, it could have a huge financial impact on a lot of sides. If they had some sort of compensation package.
Yeah, maybe subsidy from the government or the FAI. We know too well how the financial situation is in the FAI, but I'm sure if games are cancelled for a month, it might only be in the tens of thousands. But clubs will definitely have to be. At the end of the day, it's players' wages and putting food on the table. So they're if Premier League games are cancelled, players aren't going to be cash strapped and paying rent and whatever. But in the League of Ireland, I think it is a different story.
Yeah. So I think it is a bit of a concern. So it's kind of one to just keep an eye on over the next week or two. I don't think there'll be anything happening for the next couple of weeks, probably. Fingers crossed. Anyway, I won't have.
And important caveat: we're both not doctors, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hope you knew that already.
Take it with a pinch of salt.
This topic you have down here, to touch on quickly. It's just, I feel like it's kind of one of those fun ones, talking about the best guy you've ever seen live. What would you say that is? I mean, this is one of those questions that you could get asked in like a Q&A type thing. If you are watching this on YouTube, I'm going to try to get this up on different platforms as well, but if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to leave a comment down below and say if you have any topics you have in mind for us to talk about in future podcasts. We're going to try and deal with it a little bit more regularly, maybe twice a month, or maybe try the odd Sunday, stuff like that. So and while you're at it, you might as well leave a like on the video and make sure to subscribe as well. It does mean a lot to us, and just share the podcast around if you are enjoying it so far. But back on topic, Socko, the best goal you've ever seen live. We've seen a few. We've seen one or two together as well.
Yeah.
There's one that comes to mind that we've seen together.
Yeah, no, especially after me and a Rovers friend of mine, Rob Mooney. How are you? We were having a good chat the other day about, he was at the Dundalk game on Friday night talking about the Flores goal, and we had a long chat about the best goal we've ever seen live. So it took me a while to think about it. For me, it'll be James McLean versus Wales when we won 1-0. We were both there. Yeah. There's about was there 7 or 8 of us
when
there?
You say best goal you've ever seen live, it's more, I always think there's kind of two ways of looking at it in terms of the significance of the goal and the actual quality of the goal. I mean, the James McLean goal was actually a really well worked move and a lovely finish, but it wouldn't be the best goal you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah, for me, my top 3 are
in terms of like significance.
Like, yeah, it'd be half technique, half significance. For me, it'd be James McLean versus Wales. Especially with there was 7 or 8 of us there watching a goal like that. How important it was at the time, with a few of your best mates. It was one of the best nights of my life.
And I think we ended up like 5 rows ahead of where we were. Once the celebrations were finished, we just didn't know where we were standing.
You were hugging and kissing lads you've never met before.
I was beside him at the start, and he ended up beside. He was about 10 seats away from me by the end of the goal.
So number 1 has to be James McLean versus Wales. Number 2 has to be Jonathan Walters' second goal versus Bosnia.
Ensure our place, was it?
To ensure our place to confirm our place in Euro 2016. It was a cross in, and they kind of missed the header, and Walters got a volley at the back post on the low end of the Aviva, and again, kind of we were all there, and you were jumping around with your best mates. Yeah. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it was cool.
I have 4 that come to mind.
4.
Yeah. Definitely recency bias and out of love bias. Probably the 4th one I'm going to rank it as number 4 is Reece James's free kick against Leeds United for Wigan last year. Fantastic goal, if I may say so myself. And you as a Chelsea fan are obviously reaping the rewards of our hard work last season. But no, he's a special kid, that guy, and I love him to bits. But
he's probably just the foundation of our friendships.
Yeah, yeah. No, the kid. He's playing when he was playing the Championship last season. I know it's completely off topic for League of Ireland. Reece James, he's currently Chelsea right back if you don't know him, but in the Championship last season he was just a step above everybody. He's playing in central midfield a lot of the time for Wigan, and I went over
in technique and in height. He's a big lad.
He's physical, his strength, like to be 30-year-old Championship midfielders, real hustler busters, strong blokes, and he's oozing them off the ball.
I think the technical term is built like a brick shit house.
Yeah, so. Yeah. Basically.
If you're watching this, Reece.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Let's go subscribe. The goal he scored against Leeds United, I was at the game. It wasn't even amazing. It was a free kick, so it was a really nice strike. It wasn't like an amazing goal, but I think we ended up losing the game as well, so it wasn't ideal. But it was a great strike.
You're used to that as a Wigan fan as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, but you have a decent record against Leeds, so I'll take that. But number 3, I'm going to go with. This is really tough for the third and second. It's really difficult, to be honest. But I'm going to just go with Shane Long as the third favourite goal against Germany at home. It's a fantastic. This guy went to every single game of that campaign at home apart from that one, and what a one to miss.
I think I was busy
that. We've all seen the goal. I don't think we need to describe it, but it's just a long. I think it was Randolph and goal, lobbed it forward.
Randolph was Shea Given got injured. I think just after half time, Randolph came on.
Is that what it was? Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, Randolph came on. The Irish way, booted the ball upfield. It took a bounce in Shane Long's favour, and we've all seen
sprinting past Jerome Boateng like he's not even there. Like,
unbelievable goal.
Yeah, no, that was fantastic, and he finished it.
Where were you sitting for that?
I can't remember. I think I was sitting on the upper block, and then I was down on the lower one when it happened after the goal. But
unbelievable.
No, Jesus, it was a goal. It was such a, and for Shane Long, like usually he wouldn't be sticking that away now. His composure in front of the goal isn't his best asset now, to be fair to him, but he stuck it away well. Anyway, moving on to second place, I'm going to go with James McLean, the goal we were talking about, just because it got us, was it the playoff spot, wasn't it? I think, yeah, it sent us through to the playoffs ahead of Wales, and it's just in the away end as well. It's fantastic.
It was the World Cup.
The World Cup. It got us through to the World Cup playoffs.
Got us
against
through
Denmark. We won't talk about that Denmark home game, but
skip that.
That James McLean goal was just fantastic. So I just cut off there for a second. Sorry if anyone's listening to this as well, but so we were talking about the goal, McLean goal against Wales, and Hendrick just keeps it in by an inch. That, and he whips it across. Harry Arter. This is the most underrated move in a long. Like, I don't know why Harry Arter isn't in the conversation for Ireland anymore, to be honest. But I think it's a bit of a fallout. He had a Roy Keane or something like that. But yeah, it was a fantastic dummy. He stepped over it and fell into James McLean's path, and the rest is just history.
We couldn't have hit it any cleaner.
Right on a weaker foot.
Yeah, and we were all the Irish fans behind that goal.
Yeah,
and there was, I think, 7 of us went over. All you've seen them on the channel.
It's just jubilancy, I'll try to have a picture up on screen.
We were all there, and as Ross said, we ended up 10 rows in front, and some of the lads 10 rows behind. We were hugging lads. It was brilliant. And then I'd never forget being so nervous for the last half an hour, trying to hold on. I think Shane Duffy had the ball about 100 times out. Randolph had a brilliant game, as usual, I'd have to say. And the night in Cardiff after that was just class.
Brilliant. Just fantastic evening. It's one that'll stick with you forever, really, isn't it? Just
forever, yeah. After
drinking cans all day and going to that. And
one special mention, for me, number 1, James McLean, number 2, Walters against Bosnia, and number 3, I'd have to say, just for the significance and the crack, Robbie Brady against France when we went 1-0 up. Is
this your favourite or your third?
Third favourite, okay. If you're pushing me. Me and my cousin went over to the Ireland France.
How are you?
The Ireland France match in Lyon, and I don't think I knew about time zones, and I said it's 2:00 kickoff. Come on, and we legged it to the stadium, got in for 2:00, and the stadium was empty. I didn't realise France were like an hour ahead. So we had to wait an hour. I think it was must have been 2 minutes in. I think it was Brady got taken down, or Long got taken down.
Long got taken down. Yeah.
And all I remember is between Long getting taken down and Brady taking the penalty, there was like a 3-minute wait. I think the ref was sorting out something. We were all behind the goal, absolutely bricking it, and he couldn't have put the ball any closer, off posting in. And the place went wild, and I can't believe we hung on for like an hour after
that. Red card in the second half.
Yeah, and then Griezmann scored 2 goals in I think 5 minutes. But for that 55 minutes,
1-0 at half time, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, for that 55 minutes, 1 hour, we were leading France in Lyon.
They ended up losing the final, didn't they? Actually, France.
And it was one of the best moments of my life. So top 3 for me. Yeah.
And then.
What was your number 1?
My number 1, yeah.
You went 4 to 1, I went 1 to 3.
Yeah.
Chronological.
Keep track of all that, but I'd have to be just for the pure technical. brilliance of it, it would have to be Manchester United at home to Portsmouth. I'm not sure of the year, but it's a Cristiano Ronaldo free kick. I'm sure you've all seen it.
2008,
possibly
2009,
possibly 2008, 2009, around that time. And you've all seen the free kick. I mean, David James was just standing there, helped us in goal, and it's just one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. Like, when I say to people that I was at that game, they don't believe me, because it was just a stupid free kick. Like, it's an insane strike, and you'd have to just out of pure, like, that's one of the best Premier League goals of all time.
I think that was the same year he scored. It was against Porto from like 45 yards out.
Yeah, no,
he's ridiculous for United that season.
Yeah, such a talent. Like, and so I'd have to, just out of pure like technical ability, it probably trumps the 2 goals that were more out of passion kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? So I'd have to give it to it, just edge it, like.
But and definitely let us know your favourite goal you've either seen live or just on the television in the comments below.
Absolutely. And if you've any topics you want us to talk about in a podcast coming up soon, hopefully, let us know as well.
Could be politics, could be music, could be fucking, I don't know,
Brexit.
No.
But speaking, we talking about a lot of Ireland goals there. We're hoping for another amazing Irish experience, another memory coming up later this month, aren't we?
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Thursday, 26th of May.
It's May, is it?
Sorry, March. Cut that bit out. Yeah, the playoffs a week before the Euros. 26th of March. It's a Thursday night. Ireland, Slovakia in Bratislava.
Is it? We were away to Bratislava. We're away to Slovakia, and if we win that, we're away to either Northern Ireland or Bosnia. Is that what it is? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How do you think of that playoff system? It's a bit mad, isn't it? We have 2 away games. It's a bit,
obviously, you're grateful and you'll take any chance to get into the Euros, but it seems like scraping the barrel sometimes. But like, you'd much rather a chance to get into the playoffs. But if we win straight into a final with Northern Ireland up in Belfast would be insane. But there's a job to do that Thursday. I think there's a week between the semi-final and the final. Obviously Slovakia have Hamšík.
Yeah. He's in China now. I think he's playing
China.
Trade in China. Yeah. That's last.
He might be quarantined. He might be able to play.
That'd be fantastic.
But there was reports during the week that match might be played behind closed doors. Mick McCarthy didn't comment on it much because it's out of his hands basically. But yeah, the semi-final is a cup final. It's either do or die.
Yeah.
Big performance needed. Mick McCarthy was very adamant that he wouldn't include younger players such as Troy Parrott, Adam Ida, because he said it's a big game for players with big experience. Your Glenn Whelans, your James McLeans, your Darren Randolphs. What's your take on it?
We'll touch on the kind of teams and stuff like that in a minute or two. I don't know. It's going to be.
It's such a cliche, do or die.
Yeah. I'd say on paper we have the strongest team out of the 4 sides that's the 3 other sides that we're going to be coming up against. I'd say on paper we have the strongest team. I mean, there's not many players that I could name from Slovakia or Bosnia. There's obviously the few that they have, and there's
Dubravka in goal.
Yeah, there's a couple of good players obviously there as well, but it's not an awful lot that you'd know off by hand. But they will be tough games. Listen, Ireland never make it easy. We drew with Georgia away from home, and I couldn't name a Georgia player barely. So it's going to be one of those things where we're going to need a big performance. Sometimes I prefer us playing away from home than at home. I feel like sometimes it suits our style of play a little bit more in terms of sitting behind the ball, not under pressure to kind of get on the ball and play it. But then again, last time we played against Denmark, we actually played lovely football. It's one of the best performances we've seen.
I was just going to say, if
was it a couple of days before we lost to Switzerland? That was a dreadful performance. So you just don't know what Ireland you're going to get, really.
If we put in a half as good as a performance as we did against Denmark in November, I think we'll do really well.
Is there any question of Mick McCarthy's motivation? I'm just saying that from
motivation for what?
In terms of getting to the Euros, I'm not questioning it for 1 second, but I'm just saying in terms of, would you be as motivated to achieve something just in your own life, if you know that you won't get the benefit of it yourself.
I think Mick's a professional.
Yeah, I know.
He did get Ireland to the 2002 World Cup. I think Mick was given a job to do to get Ireland to the Euros, and I think
he'll see it through.
He'll see it through professionally.
I heard someone saying to me today that there's a clause in his contract that if he gets us through, there's going to be a discussion about whether he'll take us on or not for the Euros. I'm not like it's probably wrong. If anyone knows the story,
all I'll say is
mental, isn't
hopefully we'll be in that position.
Yeah, because if we got through, it would be ludicrous to switch it around. I think personally, it'd be ludicrous, and it's just I'd rather Stephen Kenny start off his Irish career with the Nations League, a lot less pressure on him, than if he flops at the Euros. Instantly, everyone's like,
it was very strange.
Up to the job.
It was very strange. Mick McCarthy went over to, I think it was in Amsterdam, the Nations League draw, as the Ireland manager, even though it's going to be Stephen Kenny taking their matches in September, October, November.
There's no question that in September Stephen Kenny will be manager. There's no question of that, I don't think.
100%. Yeah. But I don't think there's much point in having a conversation about the Euros until this time next month when we know we're there or not.
Who would you prefer to take? Just say if we get through, what manager would you prefer to see take us to the Euros, personally?
I'll answer that in a month.
Yeah, if you have to answer. So say I'm saying if we got through these fixtures. So say if we scrape through both games.
If you had to really ask me, maybe Mick, proven track record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think the whole Stephen Kenny thing.
It's a very strange situation.
It's going to have a huge reflection. Stephen Kenny's appointment is going to have a huge reflection on the League of Ireland. This is a manager that's managed the League of Ireland for years, been very successful, of course, with Dundalk. I think it's how he does with Ireland is going to be a huge reflection on the League of Ireland. If he flops, people are going to be like, "Oh, it's a crap league." That's why he should never have been a job he's in over his head. Whereas if Mick McCarthy takes the job, whichever way it swings, it's not really going to come down to Mick McCarthy. His reputation won't be damaged. I'd say no matter what happens, Mick McCarthy's going to be managing a championship side next season, probably, if he wants to. If he wants to do it, I'd take him at Wigan probably. If he wants to manage a championship side, he'd easily get it. So I don't think Mick McCarthy's reputation is on the line, no matter what happens, whether it's in the playoffs or at the Euros. Whereas if Stephen Kenny comes in for the Euros, we lose all the 3 group games, crash out, terrible performances. Instantly, everyone's like on his back. League of Ireland, he's a terrible manager. That's what I think. It could reflect really poorly on the credibility of the league kind of thing. Whereas I think just leave Mick in charge for the Euros if we get through to it, because I don't think there's any point switching it up. Because if you look at the likes of the pros, if Whelan's still kicking, fair play to him, to be honest, for this Euros. McLean,
Matt Doherty's having a season of his life this season. Yeah.
If McLean's still, I think this is McLean's probably last competition. It must be. I think.
Really?
I'd say so. I think he's in his 30s now. Do you know what age McLean is?
No, I can find out.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments below.
Let us know what age McLean is there quickly. But I think this is probably James McLean's last competition. I don't know. I think Mick is the man for the Euros. If we were to get there, I think we'd have a better chance of getting through, because I think we're looking to change the style of play under Stephen Kenny. I don't think we're not gonna play the same type of football, and it's so hard to change that.
Yeah, I agree. They're all valid points. Yeah. Maybe just a bit arbitrary to have this conversation if we lose on at the end of the month.
Absolutely, I know.
But no, you make very valid points.
Yeah.
There was a lot of eyebrows raised when the appointment was made and the arrangement, you would call it, was made. So we're just gonna have to wait and see.
Yeah, sorry about that. McLean is 30 years of age now. He'd be 30. Maybe he has the World Cup, next World Cup, in his locker, perhaps. Qatar. Yeah, that'd be Qatar, won't it? Yeah, jeez.
Are we going?
Yeah.
Moving on to the formation.
You'll be in Australia, will you? Probably easier for you to get to it.
Yeah, probably closer. Reaches there.
Yeah.
Going on to the formation, and after you pour your can, what formation do you think Mick will put out 26th of March?
I think he probably won't alter from the
before the formation. What's your opinion on a can in a mug?
It's a League of Ireland TV mug, so there's no discussion. There's only both sides.
Yeah, merch comes out both sides.
It's on both sides, bro.
When did you get that?
This is high quality material.
When did you get that?
This is years old.
Oh.
I don't know years.
I didn't get one.
Yeah, no, they're for for special members. No, I don't know. I think Ty Russell has them all stuff in his cap. So
we got the jackets off. And
yeah. Did you pay for yours? Did you?
Yeah, move on.
No, you're trusting my account. Yeah, no.
What formation do you think Mick will put out?
I'm gonna be optimistic and hope he plays 4-4-2. I think that would suit the team we have right now, the players we have available. I think that could suit us really well.
The match obviously goes extra time on the night. It'll be finished on the night.
So yeah, there won't be a replay or anything like that. I'd love to see us play 4-4-2, but I think he'll stick with the 4-5-1 to be honest.
We do know that Clark and Coleman.
No, just Coleman's out.
Just Coleman's out.
Clark. Because I was thinking about, if you're looking at the back four, I've probably been playing the back four. Obviously, Seamus Coleman. I mean, start off with the goalkeeper. Sorry, I don't think there's any question about that, is there?
No, there enough.
No,
will be
absolutely
starting.
Right back, Seamus Coleman is out injured, which actually, in a weird way, gets rid of one of our biggest headache dilemmas, kind of thing.
Doherty or
Coleman, yeah. So Doherty will slide in there.
I think even if Coleman was fit, if I were to decide, I'd probably put Doherty in.
Yeah, I think Coleman's probably a better defender than Doherty, but I think Doherty's better attacking going forward, and he scores stupid amount of goals. He scored against Denmark at home.
Denmark, great header.
Yeah. So I think Doherty will slide in there handy enough. He's had a great season, to be fair to him. On the other side, Enda Stevens, left back, that's probably a no-brainer as well. He's had a good season with Sheffield United.
Yeah, 100%.
The one thing that worries me there is that they're both been playing as part of back kind of fives, or both being wing backs kind of thing. So it's actually hard for them to adjust to the back four. You see with Enda Stevens, he hasn't been the same with Ireland as he has been with Sheffield United kind of thing. So
you could say the same for Ditzy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yet to get a Premier League goal, isn't he? I think up top as well, it's really, really important to play two up top. You're going to need the goal.
We'll move on to the strikers anyway, because I'm going to have a chat about that. Centre half, I think Duffy, Egan and Clark are the three options. And to be fair, they're all Premier League defenders, and there are two fullbacks Premier League defenders. And now Darren Randolph is actually, of course, a Premier League goalkeeper. He's back up at the moment, but to see that our back five is going to be all Premier League players does give you a bit of confidence. And most of them are playing regularly, really. So
yeah, a few of them, most of them have a lot of minutes in the Premier League over the season. Hopefully we're 3 weeks away from the Slovakia match. Just fingers crossed there won't be any injuries before then.
Like, there's not a
hope. There are a lot of Premier League games coming up. The FA Cup quarterfinals are the week before the Slovakia match too, so just hopefully there's no more injuries.
In terms of, like, I know Mick McCarthy won't do it, does not hope he's going to do it, but we would be so suited to a back five, considering Clark is a left-sided centre-back for Newcastle as a part of a back three. Duffy plays, I think Brighton play four to back, to be fair, but Egan plays in a back three. Doherty plays wing-back, Stevens plays wing-back. It would actually suit us down to the ground if you were to play a five at the back formation, but there's not a hope he's going to do it. I think he's going to stick with Duffy and Egan. There's no way he's going to alter from that.
I'd agree, yeah. Solid.
In terms of midfield, I have a few options down here. I'm going to read out a few names. Alan Brown, Josh Cullen, Glenn Whelan, Ronan Curtis, Callum O'Dowda, Jack Byrne, Jeff Hendrick, James McCarthy, James McLean, Callum Robinson, Conor Horahan and Jason Malumbi. In terms of, we'll talk about what a midfield three would look like and a midfield four would look like, just to have both altering. What would you go for there? If you can see, obviously Ronan Curtis is a winger, so you kind of take him out of that equation there unless you pay him out wide. Robinson, McLean are wingers, but the rest are kind of competing for those 3 or 2 midfield spots.
Well, just McLean and Hendrick in particular, on their day, they're unbeatable. When McLean's on his game, technically on his day he's brilliant, but he'll give you 110%. He comes off the pitch.
There's no doubt in McLean's passion for the jersey. There can be question marks about how he plays and what he does on the ball, and if he's wasteful on the ball he can be so poor. I think it was the Georgia game in the group stage, he was dreadful.
But possibly when our backs are up against the wall,
that's it.
Legs are going in the last 10 minutes. I think McLean will give you that little boost.
We both agree that McLean will be on the left hand side of the midfield. Yeah, both in agreement with that. Okay, we'll touch on the right hand side. Whether it be a 4 or a 5, Robinson, of course, is a candidate. He has been on loan at West Brom at the moment. He was with Sheffield United for the first half of the season. Did well for the first bit and then kind of worked his way out of the side and moved on loan to West Brom, who are top of the Championship. So he's playing okay there. I mean, Ronan Curtis is an option on the wing. O'Dowda is an option.
I think every time I've seen O'Dowda on the pitch, he's just plays a little bit like Hazard. Like there's just always seems to be a bit of magic when he's playing.
Yeah.
Like so you're expecting a bit of creativity or something magic going to happen. Someone to just take the ball and go with it and create a chance, cross the ball in. I'd like to see him against Slovakia.
Yeah.
I think Hendrick can be really hot and cold.
That's fair.
Yeah, what do you think?
On the right hand side, I'd probably say Robinson. If it's a midfield five, it'll be Robinson, I think. I don't think Robinson will play in a midfield four though. I don't think he's defensive enough. But for argument's sake, we'll just put Robinson there because he probably is the most dangerous out of them. I think I have to give a shout out to Ronan Curtis here though, because he's having a fantastic season. It is in League One with Portsmouth, but it is good to see a League of Ireland, a former League of Ireland player with Derry, of course.
How did he do against Arsenal?
He actually was rested for the game.
Oh really? Okay, yeah. I wasn't watching it.
Resting players.
Came on though for like
Came on,
20 or something.
How did you watch it? Didn't do
Wasn't-
much. No, didn't do much.
The game was over by then.
Yeah, it was 2-0 when he came on. Yeah, so I don't know. He has been a star player for Portsmouth this season now. There's been rumours of him getting a move to the Championship. Portsmouth, I'm not sure where they actually are in League One, but I presume they're fighting for promotion. So I think he's not a bad option. When I've seen him for Ireland, he has been a bit hit and miss. To be honest, he hasn't been great, but it is a lot of pressure when you pull on the Irish jersey. And players they need a few game caps to kind of get it their momentum kind of thing. But I think for argument's sake, we go with Robinson then. In terms of midfield three, I think that's probably the most likely.
I think we'd both agree on Whelan.
I don't know if I
No?
do. I don't know if I
Really?
do. I'll understand, and he most likely will play there, but he's playing in League One. Like, I don't know. Like, he's playing for Fleetwood in League One. He's doing well. No doubt about it. Like, the thing with Whelan is you know exactly what you're going to get. You know exactly what you're going to get, and Mick McCarthy will trust him and stand by him.
Play like
You like him. You like him.
Play like Xavi against Denmark.
Yeah.
Hit the bar.
Jeez, yeah.
You
You really like him, don't you?
I think Mick. Yeah, I really like him. Mick really likes him. Mick really emphasised.
Can you look it up?
Mick really emphasised the importance of experience against Slovakia, and I think Whelan ticks all those boxes.
I think Whelan's like late 30s now though. Like, come on, like how long
Age is just a number,
I know,
man. Age is just a number.
36.
36 is he? Yeah.
Sure, it's grand. Like it's grand.
I'd love to see Malumbi get a chance in the defensive midfield position. He's been fantastic for Millwall this season. You like him as well, don't you, Liam? Yeah. Jason Malumbi with Millwall. I think he's on loan at Millwall, if I'm not mistaken. Is he on loan from Brighton or something like that? I think it is.
Signed a new deal with Brighton.
Signed a new deal with Brighton. He's been fantastic for Millwall in the midfield this season. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in Brighton's midfield in the Premier League next season. And the fact that he's playing a level above Whelan has to count for something. But there's no way that that Mick McCarthy's going to go against and take a risk. I don't think Malumbi has a senior cap.
So do you
That might be
expect
wrong,
do
but
you expect 5 in the middle or 3?
I'd expect 5 in the middle. I don't think Josh Cullen will get in there.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've been watching for most of the season as a Chelsea fan with a back 5.
Yeah.
And I really like the idea of the 2 wing backs pushing up forward.
Especially when we have 2 quality ones as well.
For Chelsea, Marcus Alonso and Reece James have just been whipping balls in all season and then cutting inside and having a shot. Hopefully that can work out for us against Slovakia. But I do like the back 5.
Yeah.
And then the 2 wing backs pushing up.
In terms
And sorry to interrupt you. It only takes, depending where you are on the pitch, 5-10 seconds to, if you need to, just go back into a middle 5. Or if the wing backs need to drop back, go into a back 5.
Yeah.
You can if we're 1-0 up and we need to kill the game off, the 2 wing backs can drop right in, and shut up shop. And on the other hand, if we need a goal, the 2 wing backs can go forward.
Yeah, it is a good point. I mean,
and that pushes the strikers up too.
Yeah, and it allows you to play with 2 strikers as well, which can be good. So in front of it will probably most likely be Glenn Whelan sitting in that kind of CDM role. In front of him, the options we kind of have are Alan Brown, who's been doing well with Preston in the Championship, and he played against the home game against Denmark. Was it? I think he played right mid. I think in that game. We also have Josh Cullen. I don't think he'll be involved. O'Dowda could be in the mix. Hendrick will more than likely be in the mix. Conor Horan will definitely be in the mix. I think we both agree that he should definitely be starting this game.
He had a brilliant qualifying. What would you call it? Qualifying campaign. Yeah, that's the word. And the two apart from that are very interesting in my opinion. First one, obviously we all know Jack Byrne. That's an interesting one for me. I don't think he'll be starting the game with Mick McCarthy, but I think he's probably one of the better players out of these lads, to be honest, in terms of his actual ability. But there's not a hope that he'll be starting the game. It's the best we can hope for is a bench position, I think. And then the last one is James McCarthy, who has been fantastic for Crystal Palace this season. I know all about him from his time at Wigan, and I loved the guy. I got him in the back of my jersey. Literally loved him. He was a fantastic midfielder, FA Cup winning midfielder. I rate him very, very highly. He's had a tough time with injuries the last couple of seasons, to be fair, but I'm a really big fan of James, and I hope to see him involved, and I think he should be involved. I think he definitely deserves to be involved in terms of, like, if you're looking at a midfield three, you could do a lot worse than McCarthy in a CDM role and Hendrick and Horahan in front of him, but I don't think he's defensive enough like a Whelan. I don't think he's kind of going to sit back in that role, but the fact that the three of them are Premier League midfielders, I think that has to stand for something. Yeah, I think, I'm not too sure about the Slovakia team. I can't imagine they have as many Premier League players as we do.
No,
and regularly starting.
No way. I don't think they have any, to be honest. I'm not sure.
Dubravka in goals, maybe.
Dubravka in goal. He's a very good goalkeeper, actually.
He is a very good goalkeeper. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. When does the squad come out? Like a week before?
I'd say it's a week before or something like that, yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see.
The next week or two, hopefully.
Yeah, and he usually announces like a maybe 28-man squad and then cuts that down to the 23. So yeah, hopefully we did the job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on to the strikers.
So if you had to pick a midfield five, you'd go McLean on the left. Just to wrap this up, McLean on the left. Would you go Robinson on the right? Callum Robinson.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you go? You go Whelan.
Whelan CDM.
And your midfield pairing would be who? I think it has to be
hard to
it's
say.
Probably between Hendrick, McCarthy, Horan.
Yeah, I won't be too far removed from the team we put out versus Denmark in November. I'd
wouldn't be surprised if he's stuck with the same team.
Yeah,
put it past
but apart from Coleman,
was Coleman playing that game? Was he? Yeah.
Was he?
Because did Doherty score in that match? Did you say?
Yeah.
We know that Doherty was playing, but give or take.
I can't remember. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think he will go with the back five and then three up top.
I'd love to see Jack Byrne involved at some stage. That's the big one for me. But it's very unlikely that he'll even come on in the game, to be honest. For me, in terms of a midfield four, which would be my ideal, I wouldn't be against pushing Hendrick out to the right hand side of midfield. I think he's played out wide right there for Burnley in times in the 4-4-2, and then having McCarthy, Horahan, and McLean in the other positions. I'm not a big fan of Hendrick, to be honest.
We were only talking about Hendrick playing on the right, putting that ball in for McLean against Wales.
Yeah, so he has his moments, Hendrick. Don't get me wrong, and I'm just he's playing week in and week out in the Premier League for Sean Dyche, so he must be doing something right. He couldn't be a complete fraud. But I think we'll wrap it up in the field there. And let us know, obviously we'll say it at the end, but let us know what your starting lineup would be for the Slovakia game. In terms of we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Makes that's right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 strikers here to choose from. We'll pick 4 initially for the squad, and then we're going to pick 2 that will be starting, and then we'll pick a 1 to start as well.
Yeah, well, I think you can take 4 names out of that 5.
I'll be interested to hear the 4 that you pick.
I think you can take 4 names out, given Mick McCarthy's press conference the other day in Holland. I don't think there'll be a place for Parrott, Ida, Obafemi or Connolly, because Mick emphasised experience so much. Possibly one of them 4 might get on the bench, possibly Adam Ida. scored a fantastic penalty for North the other night against Spurs. And then that leaves us with Sean Maguire, Shane Long, Dave McGoldrick, Scott Hogan, and
Troy Parrott, Adam Ida, Michael Obafemi, Aaron Connolly, and James Collins. They're the 9 names.
So we're going to pick 4.
Well, you pick your 4 first anyway.
It'd be Maguire, Long, McGoldrick, and Hogan for me.
Okay.
What will your 4 be?
We'll go. So Maguire has been doing okay with Preston. I don't like him at international level. I'd probably leave him at home, personally. But again, it's the League of Ireland thing, so you'd like to see him go in a way as well. And he does bring something. He had a great game in one of those friendlies. I remember he scored a good goal. Shane Long has to go for me. He's been playing week in, week out for Southampton. He is an absolute terror, and
he'd run himself into the ground.
He's been overlooked a little bit recently by Irish fans and stuff like that. But what he's given us over the years is pace, an out ball, a target man. He kind of has a little bit of everything, and it's this goal scoring record doesn't concern me too much at international level, because it is kind of their one-off games. You don't need prolific goal scorers. Obviously brilliant to have. Move on to McGoldrick then. McGoldrick, of course, will be going. He's probably the main man there nearly at this stage. I really like McGoldrick. He's been very unlucky in the Premier League this season. He had that goal against Spurs ruled out, which was for offside by a hair, and the VAR ruled it out. He hasn't scored a Premier League goal, which I think it reflects on him in a bad way, but I think he gives you so much more than goals. He's he's
scored a goal in the cup on the weekend.
Yeah, I think he's 34 now though, but I think he'll have one. I think he has to be probably the starting striker. Scott Hogan had been doing terribly, but he moved on loan in January to Birmingham, and he's picked up his form since then. He scored a good few goals, so that's an interesting one. I've always kind of liked him a little bit. He's a pacey lad, but I'd probably leave him at home, to be honest. Troy Parrott is not ready just yet. In the words of Mourinho,
Jose Mourinho's
in the words of Mourinho, he's not ready just yet, and I think he's probably spot on, to be fair.
I think Mick shared the same thoughts as well.
Adam Ida seems a little bit more developed than Parrott right now. A little bit more composed or something like that. But
it's a year older than him as well.
I think Ida is one just to leave for the Nations League. I don't think maybe even the Euros, but I don't think it's worth bringing him to Slovakia just yet. I mean, like, he has looked like an absolutely star. Like, he has looked like the star, to be honest. But I think Obafemi has to go. He's been playing games for Southampton. He scored a fabulous goal at Stamford Bridge. You can remember that. I'm surprised you don't remember that to bring him. You didn't remember too fondly, did you? Yeah. But he's been playing a good bit of Premier League football this season, so I think Obafemi has to go. And the last player I'd bring is Aaron Connolly. Just given that I think Mick will bring him as well, because he has played a couple of games for Ireland now. He knows the territory. He hasn't been great. That he had obviously the amazing game against Spurs.
He had a brilliant start. We haven't seen much from him.
He hasn't done an awful lot since. I think he's had a couple of injuries here and there. I think James Collins at Luton, I don't think anyone would be fighting to see him.
No, but in regards to Connolly, I think Brighton are. I don't think they've won a game in 2020.
No,
I think I heard that on Match of the Day,
because they started the season very brightly as well.
Yeah, Connolly had a great start, but you have to pick the players on form. You talk about Sean Maguire with the League of Ireland thing. I think that can only bring you so far. It just has to be purely on form.
Yeah.
And you'll take a goal from anywhere, but like ideally you'd want your strikers to be on top form.
Yeah. Sean Maguire is a tricky one. I wouldn't bring Sean Maguire. I don't think at international level it's a slower tempo, and it just doesn't suit his style of play at all. For Shane Long, it kind of suits him a bit better, and McGoldrick. So the 4 for me would be Long, McGoldrick, Obafemi, and Connolly. They'd be my 4. If you had to pick a starting 2 out of your 4, Maguire, Long, McGoldrick, Hogan, what would be your 2?
I think Long, McGoldrick probably be the strongest 2.
I probably agree with that as well. Based
on Premier League form, I know McGoldrick hasn't scored a Premier League goal yet, but he's been very, very important to Sheffield United in even in the dressing room and taking balls down, laying balls off, just being a nuisance in that 6-yard box.
I think the pair down would be an absolute disaster.
Really?
To get, as in terms of to be a terror for the defenders.
Oh, for the
the
disaster for Ireland.
I mean, I think they'd cause so many problems.
Hopefully,
they put themselves about it. No question of that at all.
And both will give you 110%.
Yeah, and I think neither of them are the most prolific strikers in the world, but I think for experience and for one of them will nick you a goal. I think. And in Slovakia, just to nick you one, a little header or whatever.
Sure, McGoldrick only scored that header against Switzerland, was 80 minutes in?
Yeah. And he's looked a really, really good player. I really like McGoldrick. And of course, Sheffield United are fighting for a Champions League spot, so it is one of those things. But I think Obafemi and Connolly give you both something different off the bench as well. In terms of Connolly has that kind of brute pace, that raw pace. He's a little bit raw in terms of on the ball and stuff like that a little bit. And then Obafemi had something about him. He scored a few goals. He scored a goal there, I think, was it last weekend or the weekend before, for Southampton. He's in Ralph Hasenhüttl. He's been in his plans this season alongside Long and Ings. So the three of them have been competing together. And Obafemi, I've been impressed by him. And he's probably done the best in the Premier League out of Parrott Ida himself in terms of the young lads. So I think Obafemi deserves some recognition for that, because I feel like there's a lot of hype around Parrott and Ida, and I think Obafemi is the one that's kind of in the shadows for some reason.
That's a good point.
Even though he's nearly performing the best out of them, and I think he definitely deserves to be. There might be 5 strikers going, but I'd say Mick will only pick 4, and he might pick an extra Robinson and Curtis and stuff like that. So I think Obafemi definitely deserves to go. So we both have picked our strikers there. I think we've both to go at one striker, probably be McGoldrick for the 4-5-1. Would you agree with that, McGoldrick?
Yeah, he had a great qualifying campaign.
Yeah, so I think he'd lead the line.
The fans, the Irish fans really love him too. When he scored that goal versus Switzerland, I wasn't there myself, I was away, but like the stadium erupted, and every time McGoldrick gets on the ball, everyone's behind him. As they are with all the players, but I think McGoldrick in particular, especially against Slovakia, the Irish fans got 10% of tickets in the stadium. Usually it's just 5% for an away match. The FAI negotiated 10%. So we all know what the Irish fans are like. So I think there'll be huge support. I don't know what Slovakia fans are like. They might not sing as much as we do. So I think even though it's in Slovakia, it might feel like a little bit of a home game with the Irish fans. And then it could be behind closed doors. You just don't know. Could be behind closed doors. Yeah.
If you had to give a quick enough before we move on from this, we talked about it for a while now. If you had to give a scoreline prediction for that Slovakia game,
oh Jesus,
off the top of your head,
1-0.
So I'll take a 1-0.
1-0 win. Yeah, I'll take.
Happy days.
Take fucking anything.
Down here we have a few friendlies coming up in June. It starts in July. Is the Euros? It will start in July.
End of June, I think.
End of June. So we have a couple of friendlies lined
June,
up.
Yeah.
Whether we go through or not, we have a couple of friendlies against Turkey and Luxembourg.
And a Turkey, Luxembourg, and a third to be confirmed. Hopefully they'll be in preparation for the European Championships. If we don't qualify, I can't imagine too many people will be going to see us play Luxembourg.
Are they at home? Are they those games?
I think 2 might be at home, 1 might be away.
Okay.
I could be wrong. There might be a caveat of the coronavirus too, if mass gatherings are still banned by then.
God, yeah, you don't even think about it. It could cause serious trouble. Like,
hopefully they will be. We'll obviously be talking about them end of May before. Well, you'll be gone, so I'll be there on my own. No, a few lads will be there. So yeah, I'll be there on my own. So yeah, hopefully they'll be in preparation for the Euros.
Absolutely. Yeah. The last topic we'll touch on is the Nations League. Before we talk about it, guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure to drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it so far, and make sure to subscribe as well. I'm not sure what kind of platforms we're going to put this on just yet, but hopefully we'll have them on every single whatever the platforms are. You're a bit of a podcast head. What
Amazon Play, Spotify, iTunes. That's it.
So was it subscribe on them?
That's it. If you search LOI TV, it'll be up there. Leave a review and subscribe and just tell a friend about it.
Share it if you're enjoying it, guys, and you want to get someone else involved in League of Ireland. If you want to come on it, if you know a good guest we could have potentially on it, we're going to start looking into that in the next couple of weeks. If you think of a good guest we can have on the show, just drop a comment on YouTube, whether it be, or drop us a DM on Instagram. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well and stuff like that. So
to quote Peter Crouch, just pass the pod. Tell your friend about it. Tell your grandmother. Tell your teacher. Tell your postman.
We appreciate the support, guys. But the final thing we will talk about is the Nations League, of course, and we know that Stephen Kenny will be in charge for that. The teams we withdrew with were Wales, Finland and Bulgaria, and I feel a lot better about them teams than I did in the previous Nations League. Who did we have for that? We had a tough draw in the previous one, I remember. We didn't do well in that.
Denmark, Wales.
Yeah.
Who's the third?
Sick of the sight of those lads. Like, Jesus Christ! Like,
it's a perpetual game.
I was expecting Denmark, Wales, and Georgia. That's what I was expecting. But Finland and Bulgaria is nice for a change, and I'd be confident of beating them two at a minimum. And in Wales, Ireland is always a bit of a 50-50 kind of thing.
I think there is, off the top of my head, 2 matches in September, 2 in October and 2 in November. We start off with 2 home games, and then we're away.
Who are those against?
I can't remember off the top of my head. And then the third match is away to Bulgaria. I think that's the day before Electric Picnic, so we might be busy that day. So 2 home games and then away versus Bulgaria. No reason why we can't get 3 wins at the start of that campaign. It's a nice draw. It could have been a lot better. It could have been a lot worse, in my opinion. As you said, Wales away is a 50-50, but I'd be confident enough we'll do well in that.
I think on paper our side is a little bit not as good as Wales, to be honest. In terms of, they have players like Aaron Ramsey, Gareth Bale, Dan James, Kiefer Moore up top, Wigan striker. I think Wales are probably a stronger side than us, and it just depends, because I think the Nations League, we're going to have to be patient with it. We might suffer some frustrating results with draws with the likes of Finland and Bulgaria, because we're trying. It's a revolutionary phase of Irish football. We're trying to change it up, and we're trying to promote from grassroots, from the League of Ireland. We're trying to push players, and we're trying to make it better. And it's not going to be overnight, and we're trying to play a nicer side of football as well. It's not going to be. But I could be wrong, but I hope it's going to be a nicer side of football, and I think Stephen Kenny is going to look to do that, because the under 21s have been playing some fabulous stuff.
Brilliant. We were chatting earlier about how after this campaign, if we get to the Euros or not, after this summer, you can maybe see a good bulk of the team dropping out of international football. A few are getting on in age a bit. And with Stephen Kenny bringing the new players in, a few under 21s, no doubt, it might turn out to be a transition period. No, not only for the national team, but for the FAI in general. As we work through the debt we're currently in, and the package that was agreed. But in terms of on the pitch, it could turn out to be a transition campaign, the Nations League, and it's really important to remember you have to be patient with it.
Absolutely. I think that's the main message. I never on this channel, like, we have a little bit of an audience ever. We never use that to like push out a manager or anything like that. Like, I think the message from us would be to give this time. Like, there's gonna be people out there that'll be, if Stephen Kenny stays in charge for the Euros and we crash out at the group stage, and then we're going into the Nations League and we get a frustrating result in the first game, there'll be people calling for his head. I think he has to be given a couple of years, because it's not going to be overnight, and I genuinely believe that he is the right man to take the nation forward, the national team forward, and it's great to see that it's been a step up from the League of Ireland to that job, because they could easily have gone for a championship manager again, a Martin O'Neill, Mick McCarthy type. It's been a completely different change, and hopefully that's a change that we see throughout Irish football in terms of FAI, everything really. Hopefully, well, it's a start of something good. Yeah, well, as a Chelsea fan, I've been in a season of transition this season with Frank Lampard. I heard a good thing in a podcast last week. There's a big difference between a supporter and a fan.
a fan just likes the team and will join the bandwagon and support them when they're good and cough their head when they're doing bad, but a proper supporter is with their club or their country through thick and thin.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to give them time. You have to give them patience. And there's a lot of football supporters that kind of would feel entitled, and if they lose a game or two, it's the end of the world. And that's not the case at all. So I think Stephen Kenny has to be given patience and time. If we get a bad result or two, there'll be fans calling for his head, and I've no doubt they'll be the same fans who have never watched an under 21 game in their life, or who haven't been to a League of Ireland game in their life. So yeah, I think he has to be given patience.
It's gonna be brilliant to see the young lads coming through, isn't it? I think after the Euros, it's gonna be a real point where we start to see some of these exciting talents. And the thing is, like, it's been a long time since we've seen this many players. Like, you actually look at this list of strikers coming through, like Parrott, Ida, Obafemi, Connolly. They're all teenagers or early 20s, and there's no doubt that there's a couple of 15, 16 year olds out there coming through. And like it's one of those things where, like, it is an exciting period for Irish football without a shadow of a doubt, and I'm excited for the Nations League campaign, because I'm not that into it, to be honest. I feel like the last one went so badly that I wasn't ever really bought into it too much. But I feel like this time around, there can be so much positivity surrounding it in terms of the young lads playing in it, and I hope that's the case. And that could be a really positive.
Yeah, I think the FAI needs a lift, if anything. The national team, whenever we even get a draw or we win, it gives the country a lift and gives football in Ireland a lift. And I think we're well overdue one this year. Yeah.
I think we'll wrap it up there anyway, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and if you listened the whole way through, really appreciate it. Yeah, make sure to drop a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe on YouTube as well. Subscribe on iTunes and Spotify. All the works, if whatever you're listening to it on. Share the word of it, guys, as well. We're going to try to get this up and running. We've had a few podcasts in the past. They're all on YouTube at the moment in the archives. They're not anywhere else. But if you want to give them a listen, fire away.
And please do let us know any comments in the comment section. Let us know the team you're expecting Ireland to put out against Slovakia.
Yeah. And just leave comments on whatever you thought,
any topics,
anything you heard throughout the video. Coronavirus, the works. Yeah, guys. I've been joined by Sean today. Thank you so much for coming along. Appreciate it. Sean O'Connor Music on Instagram.
No.
He was a little shout out to Sean OC Music, up and coming musician in Dublin. If you see him out and about, say hello. But yeah, guys, thanks very much for watching or listening, whichever you're doing. And yeah, catch you in a bit.